guys, welcome back to another educational video on my channel, Space Cow. Now I will be talking about the Latin American independence. Now there are many events in the Latin American independence, but I'll only be doing the Haitian Revolution. Once upon a time, there was an island called Hispaniola, and there was a split between the Spanish and the French. The Spanish side was called Santo Domingo, or the Dominican Republic, while the French side is called Saint Dominique, or Haiti. The Haiti Revolution was one of the most successful revolutions in history. Haiti's economy primarily focused on coffee and sugar, and how they made coffee and sugar was through African slaves. A lot of African slaves. 450,000 African slaves to be exact, and only 70,000 white people. Soon the news of the French Revolution swept onto shores and influenced the slaves to revolt. Soon men, women, and children were on the streets protesting and revolting. Now the three effects that the Haitian Revolution had on the world was that it showed a lot of bloodshed, it showed the brutality of slavery, and it showed a new point of view for the world. Next up, we'll be talking about is new philosophies, and what we're going to be talking about is industrialization in Britain. Industrialization started in Great Britain, like we said, in the late 1700s, and industrialization is the development of industries in a country or region on a wide scale. Industrialization started in Great Britain due to the fact that agricultural stability allowed the British population to increase, and because it had access to a number of natural resources, such as iron and coal. Industrialization had changed society from sewing needles to sewing machines. Industrialization even affected people to create the steam engine. Industrialization also affected transportation, communication, and the economy. Industrialization affected many people to this day, especially people in Great Britain. The next thing we'll be talking about is imperialism, and the event we'll be talking about is the Opium Wars. Money was scarce for the Europeans, and they really wanted to trade for tea with the Chinese. But they had a whole field of opium, so they decided, why don't we just trade opium for tea? But the Chinese refused, so they decided to sneak opium into China. This did not sit well with the Chinese. The Europeans thought they were making them civilized, while the Chinese thought that they were as equal as the Europeans. After the Chinese found out what the Europeans were doing, they got angry and sunk one of the European ships, which were filled with opium. The Europeans got angry as well, and it started the Opium War. Now, there was three effects from the Opium War that affected the whole world. One of them is that it opened new trading posts inside of China, not outside, even though it broke Chinese law. Another effect would be that because of the ports that were open in China, Chinese became Christians, which the Chinese were afraid of. It also opened new monopolies in China. Next up, we're going to be talking about is the Italian and German unification, and what event we're going to be talking about is the 7 Weeks' War. The 7 Weeks' War, also called Austro-Prussian War, 1866, war between Prussia on the one side and Austria, Bavaria, Saxony, Hanover, and certain minor German states on the other. It ended in a Prussian victory, which meant the exclusion of Austria from Germany. The next thing we're going to be talking about is recent movements, and the event we'll be talking about is women's suffrage. Men were the only people who were allowed to vote, while women were not allowed to vote and also weren't allowed to run for office. The women got fed up by it and decided to take a stand. In Seneca Falls, New York, 1848. The women gathered around and decided to change that law and start protesting on the streets. Soon the 15th Amendment passed, and it allowed the women to have a right to vote and to run for office. That's it for this video, and I hope you have a great day.